She kept two boyfriends. Andras got Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Laszlo got Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Sundays were just for the two men. The three of them lived in perfect harmony until a fourth man, Hans, showed up out of nowhere. Hans fell for Ilona the second he laid eyes on her. He wanted to join their little family, but Ilona shut him down. She simply had no time left to give anyone else. Hans walked away completely crushed. That day was Ilona and Laszlo's time together. Feeling bored, Andras went for a walk by the sea. Suddenly, he heard a splash and sprinted over to pull someone out of the water. That someone was Hans. Not being able to have Ilona had wrecked him. Andras stayed with him patiently, telling him he'd eventually meet someone even better. The next day, Andras even escorted Hans onto a train back to Germany. He had no clue that one day he'd regret ever pulling this man out of the ocean. 3 years later, a military officer walked into their restaurant. When Andras took a closer look, he realized it was Hans. But Hans wasn't here to say thanks. He had come to bring chaos to their doorstep. 3 years earlier, Hans had touched Laszlo's piano and got chewed out immediately. No one was allowed to lay a finger on that instrument. Now, in front of everyone, Hans tapped the piano again. This time, Laszlo didn't dare make a sound. Hans had become the kind of man you simply couldn't afford to piss off. Then Hans strolled straight into the kitchen, a place Andras never let anyone enter. Hans was doing it on purpose, showing off the power he now held. He showed Ilona a photo of his wife and daughter, bragging that they were far prettier than she was. Next, he ordered Andras to tell him a joke right in front of the guests. Andras knew it was pure humiliation, but he couldn't say no. Hans burst out laughing, not because the joke was any good, but because it fed his ego to watch someone bow to him. After that, Hans demanded that Laszlo play for him. Laszlo refused on the spot. He wasn't about to kiss up to a man like Hans. Hans's hand drifted to the gun at his side. Laszlo still didn't flinch. Panicking, Ilona stepped forward, picked up the lyrics Laszlo once wrote for her, and began to sing. Laszlo stared at her in disbelief. Ilona had sworn never to sing in front of anyone else, but to protect them, she broke her vow. Only then did Laszlo finally sit down and play for her. When the song ended, Ilona ran to her room, trying to steady herself. Just then, a gunshot echoed through the restaurant. Laszlo was gone. He'd rather die than live the rest of his life swallowing humiliation. The peaceful life the three once shared was now reduced to just Ilona and Andras. But only days later, soldiers stormed in and dragged Andras away because he was Jewish. Ilona begged them to spare him, but he was still shoved onto a military truck. She went to Hans, the only man with the power to save him. What she didn't know was that the soldiers who arrested Andras had been acting on Hans's orders. Ilona went to Hans's office pleading for help. Hans stepped closer and closer, and she instantly knew what he wanted. This time, she didn't dare refuse, and couldn't. Hans finally got what he'd been dreaming of for years. Later, he arrived at the train station where Jews were being gathered for transport to the camps. He pulled out a letter of pardon. Andras thought Hans had come to save him, but the soldiers released someone else instead. Hans wasn't rescuing him. He was rubbing it in. "I can save people, just not you." In the end, Andras was forced onto the train headed straight toward death.